because I wasn't. Like, I mean, I haven't even really been posting on here. Like, I did a live earlier. Now I'm doing one now. But it's just because, I've talked about how the messages that I listen to, I listen to men, and then, I listen to Princella. And I've talked about how their messages tend to overlap, even though they don't, like, fully agree. And, one of the men that I listen to, I believe I've even said it before, is Tony Gaskins, right? And so I was listening to a video that he just made. He was talking about the lies that men tell. And he was talking about how, most of the time, if you start off a relationship, the man probably lied. And then he was referring to that whole, like, who the F did I marry 50-part story thing, and how, a bunch of women are calling him a narcissist, but really he's just a man, which actually I want to talk about that too. But it's like, I'm being 100% like really real. I'm so serious. I'm not trying to be like cheeky, facetious, whatever you want to call it. I'm dead serious. Like, what does a woman get out of, like, being in a relationship with a man? Like, I'm really there now. Like, I'm genuinely confused. Like, he said this doesn't mean, to choose to be single. It just means to be aware. But it's like, but why though? Like, why not just choose to be single? Like, I genuinely don't know what exactly there is to look forward to at this point in a relationship with a man. Like, I don't get it. Because it's like, another man that I listen to is R.C. Blake's. And I listened to a video he did the other day, and he was acknowledging how the whole thing about men care more about respect, like being respected, than being loved, and he kind of had to agree. And it's like, between hearing how men care more about respect, how they're going to start off with a lie, how, Tony has talked about how, you have to leave a man. You have to be willing to leave him in order to keep him. And essentially you got to train him. It just seems like so much work. So much work. And it's like, what are you getting out of it? Like, is it really just protection? Like, I'm not even saying that, like, protection is nothing, because, protection does have its merit, it's definitely a good perk, but, like, is that really genuinely the only one? And again, it's like, when you look, even when you look at the protection thing, it's like, but then who are you getting protected from? Other men. Like, men. It's like, the more I learn, the more I just don't get it. I don't understand what women are getting from men, because it doesn't seem like a lot of them feel like they're being loved. They don't feel like they're being treated right. They're getting cheated on. They're getting dogged out. And yet they're continuing to stay with these men. So I don't understand the women either. Now, I do want to acknowledge, though, I know that there are good relationships and there are good men. And there are men that actually treat their woman well. And, the woman, she treats her man well in return. And they have a nice, healthy relationship. And I think that's great. I think that's goals. But I just don't feel like that's the norm. I don't feel like that's typical. And even if they are at that point, I mean, what did they have to go through to get to that point? Because, I was listening to another video that Tony did recently, and he was, I don't remember the name of that one, but he was talking about how most relationships have gone through every toxic thing you can think about before they become successful. So it's like, even these, healthy relationships have probably gone through some crap. And I don't know. I guess if the relationship ends up being a good and healthy one, then I guess it was worth it. But at this point, I mean, I was also in the video that Tony was talking about with the lies that men tell. He's talking about him with this woman that he knew for, now granted, I was only half paying attention, I'm not gonna lie, but if I got the story right, he knew this girl in high school, he'd gone out with her, but they never did anything. And then he met up with her outside of school, told her a lie about him potentially getting 20 million, like a $20 million contract. And then at that point, that was when she opened her legs for him, and he was cooking and all this stuff, because she didn't feel like she had anything else to offer him, because she hadn't, finished high school or college or anything else. And he was talking about how, he had wanted to sleep with this girl since high school. And, like, he talked about being turned off by certain things she said and stuff like that. And it made me think about the whole thing with not just guys lying to you, but them lying to you just with the intent of having sex with you, and that's it. Like, putting your emotions through the ringer, making you, like, gaslighting the crap out of you, making you think that he cares, that he actually is serious, that he wants something more. But then as soon as he gets to sex, he just leaves. And, in my experience, I think I just have made things too difficult for the guys that I've dealt with. Like, I think they knew that I wasn't gonna, like, do anything with them. At the very least, not very soon at all. Like, it was gonna take a while. And I think that's why they gave up on me so quickly. I mean, a lot of my experiences were on dating apps. Like, I don't think I've talked about this guy, even though ironically it's dealing with him that made me potentially learn about, like, the, like, red pill and the manosphere and all that, which led to me finding out about, like, the men that I listened to and Princella. It all led to that. So it was all a learning experience. But I will give it to this just toxic guy that I met on the dating app. And he was just so, I mean, he literally told me that he did not want to meet me in public unless I promise to do some sort of sexual thing with him. Otherwise, he wanted to come to my place, or preferably I come to his. And, he told me how, sex wasn't a need, but an expectation. And he gaslit me so hard, told me that I thought that it was all about sex, but it really wasn't, and blah, blah, blah. But, I think, I was telling him, I was like, I don't think that we're compatible. And he kind of was like, well, duh, like, I could have told you that. And I'm just thinking, like, okay, well, if you could have told me that, if you knew, then why were you even still dealing with me? And even after he essentially told me that he didn't like me, because, he went on this whole tirade about women this and women that. And because I told him, I personally had wanted a relationship, and I wanted a foundation of a friendship. He told me how, he didn't want to be my friend, and this, that, and the third. But even after all of that, he still wanted me to do something sexual with him. And at that point, he wanted me to do it out of like guilt or whatever. He was so crazy that even after I blocked him, he messaged me from another number to tell me how I was a liar and this, that, and the third. And it was ridiculous. It was crazy, but I feel like I learned a lot from that really crazy and toxic interaction. But that alone is just an example of how, these guys, they don't even necessarily, forget loving you, right? Because when I hear these men give advice or whatever, they'll talk about, oh, well, just because a man has sex with you, it doesn't mean he loves you. Forget love. He don't even have to like you. He don't have to like you. He could, because I'm pretty sure that boy, yeah, I'm going to call him a boy. I'm not going to call him a man. That boy, I think he pretty much hated me, to be honest. But that didn't stop him, And it's like, now I know that Tony has said that, dating apps, you're definitely going to get the worst out of the worst. So if we're going to go by that, maybe it's not fair to bring up how most of my terrible experiences have been through that when I did it. But even outside of that, I know I've talked about my coworker at like my last job who, at the time, because of my lack of experience, I thought he was interested in me, but I wasn't sure. He was, I know now, obviously he was, right? But I didn't know then. He was coming on to me though. But I wanted to talk to him because I wanted to, he told me he had a situation. I didn't know what a situationship was at the time. But then later he told me he had a girl. Like, it was so crazy. There was just so much going on. And I just wanted to have a conversation with him and talk to him. And that's what I told him, because I wanted to clear stuff up. And he never did talk to me. I don't know if it's because, I'm under the impression that he just wanted sex, right? And I think it was just a convenience thing for him because of the circumstances. And so when I made it pretty clear that I wasn't going to do that, I think he kind of just dropped it because it's like, oh, it's not even worth it. So it could have been that he just didn't want to waste his time talking to me. Or it could have been that he felt like the more information I knew, the even less interested I would be. So he just wanted to avoid that whole thing. I don't know. It could have been whatever, but I never got the clarification that I wanted. But I got bits and pieces, I found out, about him like living with the girl, whatever, him Just a whole bunch of like just weird stuff, And like, that was one of the things I told him when he told me, even though he started off when he was asked, did he have a girlfriend? And he said he had a situation. So he didn't say that he had a girl. But then first thing, as soon as we're texting, he gonna tell me like, oh, I got a girl. It's like, okay, why are you claiming her now? You didn't claim her before. But it's like, the thing is, if you're telling me this, like, so basically, and again, I didn't really realize at the time because I didn't understand. I just, but it's like, so what? Like, you wanted me to be the side piece? Like, what? And I told him, like, you be loyal to your girl. Like, what are you doing? I mean, that's basically what I told him. And I don't know. He still kind of flirted with me after that still. But it's just like, he was willing. Like, now I get it. But at the time, I always thought it seemed like every time I went to talk to him, he always looked so like, I don't know, excited, expected, whatever. Like, it always seemed to me that there was something that he wanted me to say specifically, but I just never said it. Because every time I would talk, it was like that whole like hopeful look he had would just disappear. And I'm like, I always felt like, okay, there's something he want me to say and I'm not saying it. And now I think he wanted me to either be willing to be the side chick or, I mean, essentially, regardless, I probably still would have been it, but like said something to him like, oh, I'm better than your girl, like fight over him or something like that. I'm pretty sure that's what he wanted, but it's like that, like, that's what you want. That's a dynamic that you're willing to have. Like, that's crazy. Like, you're willing to cheat on your girl. You are open to this whole side chick thing. Even if I did become your new girl, like, now I know what it is that you're willing to do. Like, it's just and gosh. So, I had that revealed to me. And I wish I would have known all the things that I know now back then, so I could have like really quickly put the pieces together. But I didn't know. There's some more I could say about him, but I'm gonna leave it at that. I made my point, right? Because before him, I had another coworker, and again, I kind of felt like at times, at least, he was flirting with me. And, when I was leaving, he gave me his number. I texted him, but like from time to time, I had heard about like he had referred to having a girlfriend. Now, he never showed what she looked like or anything like that. And so, I mean, did he even really have one? He probably did. But it's like, if he was flirting with me, which, like now, I feel like, yeah, he definitely was. But it's like, again, like he's willing to cheat on his girl talking to me. Like, and once again, this isn't off some dating app. This is in real life. This is me interacting with, guys in person, not off an app. And this is the kind of stuff that they're willing to do, that they're doing. And I just find it like so messed up. And I mean, I could even kind of talk about right now at my current job. There is a man, and he is married. Okay, he's married. But I'm Now, maybe I'm just gassing myself up, but I don't think I am. I'm pretty sure that he's interested in me. Now, he hasn't really, like, he hasn't said anything explicit or anything like that. It's not like that, but it's just like, you know, I've noticed that, like, he, I'm not even going to go into it. The point is, I feel like if I came on to him, then he would, he would very easily fall into it. I could be wrong. I don't think I am, though. I don't think I am. Especially because, I'm not even going into that. But my point is just, I am not seeing enough good examples of good, decent men. I mean, my gosh, I was watching Kendra's singles show yesterday. I think it was yesterday. Yeah, yesterday. And this guy on there said this. He said the same thing that Princella says. He said that, the law is the only thing keeping a lot of men in check, because if the law were to disappear, then a lot of guys would be out here like just raping women. And this is coming from a man. He said that. Now she said it, and whenever she says stuff, everyone wants to go, oh, she's too extreme. She's this, she's that. But it's like, men will say the same thing. Now, I know it is different coming from a man versus coming from a woman, because when it's a woman saying it, she's gonna sound jaded because she's a woman. But I think it just goes to show, when she says the stuff that she says, and then you have men occasionally, whether on purpose or accidentally, saying the same stuff that she says, I think it really like strengthens her arguments. And it's like she's so like accurate about so many things. It's hard. Like, okay, I've been thinking about her statement about men being incapable of love. And, I actually bought her book, The 5 Components of Love. I need to read it. I keep forgetting that I bought it. But, I know that she has said in one of her videos that one of the reasons why they are is because of them being stuck in the lower nature and being stuck in self-preservation mode, and with love being higher, you have to ascend above that, and most men don't ascend. What I take from that is that what makes them incapable isn't, and I could be reading into this incorrectly, but what I get from it, which I don't know if most people take it this way, but when she says that men are incapable of love, if we base it on that, on them being trapped in their lower natures, then I would say that they're incapable in the sense that if you are someone who is stuck in your lower nature, then while in that lower nature, you are, in fact, incapable of love if it's at a higher level. Like, if love is level 10 and you're at level 1 and you stay at level 1 and you refuse to go above it and you're always in level 1, then no, you do not have access to what is at level 10. And so that is something that is incapable for you. But if a man is willing to do the work to go beyond that, then I think he would be capable of reaching that level. So I feel like, and again, I could be wrong. Maybe I'm taking her words out of context. I mean, I haven't, done one of her workshops, but it seems to me that the issue is that it seems that a lot of men are not actually willing to go beyond and therefore be capable of love. So it's not that they literally cannot do it, that they don't have the capability of doing it. It's that they just simply don't want to. And because they don't want to, they are trapped in that lower nature. And therefore, it is not something that they are going to achieve in that, lower nature. If that's not what she means, then, well, I mean, I'm just wrong. But I think that makes a lot of sense, because what I'm noticing from men is that they really seem to have no interest in doing better for themselves. They blame women for everything. They don't take accountability, even though they say that women need to take accountability. And they just do some really terrible things. And it's so selfish, and it really does go into the self-preservation thing. They care about them. And I'm not going to sit here and say that women are perfect. I mean, I literally, my video earlier today was talking about how women are not perfect and how actually I really can't stand them. Unfortunately, I really can't stand most women. I get why it is, but it doesn't change the fact that it is. They're not angels. They're not innocent in all of this, but I do think that it's hard to ignore that I do feel like men are at the core, and the whole issue with patriarchy and everything has caused women to be in the almost intolerable state that a lot of them are in. At least, like I've said in my video, the ones a lot of times that I interact with. Gosh, I don't. Goodness gracious. Honestly, my worst betrayals have been by women. And a certain group of women too, but I'm not going to get into that. I'm really not. But I just don't like where things are at right now. I don't like at the end of the day, regardless of how I feel about women, it seems as if when women enter relationships with men, they end up doing a lot. Whether it's asked of them or not, they just end up doing a lot. And I don't know what they're getting in return, for real. Because it seems to me like what they're getting is, I mean, maybe a little vulgar, but like they're just getting dick. Like, it seems like that's kind of it. Because I don't even really think that they're getting protection, to be honest. And depending on what your definition of protection is, I mean, because there's physical protection, right? But I also believe in mental protection, emotional protection. And if you're cheating, if you're gaslighting, all of that type of stuff, then you're not protecting a woman's mental. Not only are you not protecting it, you are actually the assailant. And I think that a lot of women are dealing with that. They are in relationships with their biggest assailants. It's so messed up. And, if these men, when they're cheating, they're not being loyal. And so it's like, if there's a threat, like, are they really protecting you? Because they're not even really on your side. Like, I'm not seeing the appeal. At least not of like the average man. And for the men that are above average, the good and decent men who I know that like guys keep trying to say, oh, there's tons of good men. And I mean, I guess if we look at it relatively, right? Like, let's say that in the world, 1% of all men are good. I mean, considering how many men are in the world, technically speaking, 1% is still a lot. But relatively speaking, it's not really a lot. And it's like, two people that I listen to, Angry Biracial and Princella, have both said it's like playing Russian roulette. And to get more specific, like Angry Biracial said, it's like playing Russian roulette. And the chambers there's 5 bullets. Even though, it's a chamber of 6. So it's like, I'm not saying it's impossible to find a good man, but I'm saying that it feels near impossible. I'm not seeing good examples. I'm really not. I can't say that I know any personally, and I hate that. I really do. I really wish that I could say that I knew one guy and I felt like, man, this guy is a good, upstanding guy. He has the right attitude. He has the right mental. He doesn't cheat. He doesn't, but nope. Nope. I don't know any like that. I don't. Very unfortunate. And that doesn't help me feel like they exist, to be honest. I know they do, but the ones I'm encountering are not good. The ones that I know are not good. And I also want to specify that just because I'm saying that someone isn't good, it doesn't mean that they're completely bad. Like, it doesn't mean that, every time they take a step, they're like some supervillain. Everything that they do is bad. Because I believe, not that this is exactly what I'm saying, but I do think that bad people can do good things and good people can do bad things. Like single individual actions, I don't think necessarily define you entirely as a person. It's a collective of things, right? It's an overall thing. So I could think that a lot of guys are bad, but maybe they do some good things. I think unfortunately another part of the problem is that the manipulation and the lying is so rampant with these men that it's like, even if they do seem really nice or good, it could just be a facade. I mean, I know someone who, all of his good actions. Now, I'm not saying that behind closed doors he's like abusive or whatever. That's not the case, but a lot of the good acts are performative. Like, he hams it up, when it's out in public. Because in private, it ain't all that. But in public, it's like, And I feel like that could be the case for, just a lot of men. They might present as good, but that doesn't mean much. And again, I'm not saying that women are saints. I'm not saying that they don't lie and manipulate as well. But I don't think that, at least if we're talking about it in a relationship sense, like not in a woman trying to make friends with another woman thing, because I do feel like there are a lot of things that contribute to why that is a disaster, which I'll just briefly just say I feel like it has a lot to do with competition without going more into it. But if we're talking a woman and a man getting into a relationship, a woman may lie, but I don't think it's to the same extent And I don't think it's for the same reason. Now, if a woman lies and she's not genuinely interested in the man, that's one thing. But I think in most cases, the woman is interested and she's lying because she's hoping that he'll like her more and that he'll want to be with her, as in be in a relationship. But when the guy lies, yeah, he's also hoping that the girl will like him, but he's doing it hoping that she's gonna sleep with him. And that's it. And then he's gonna leave her high and dry. And like, that's the difference. The woman, she doesn't want to leave the guy most of the time. She actually wants him. She wants to keep him. She wants him to stay. She's lying to get what she wants, but what she wants is him. Like, she wants him with her. She wants to essentially tackle the world with him as her partner. But he just wants to tackle the bedroom. You know, it's not the same. And I think personally that's what makes it so diabolical when men do it. Because it's like, it's not for, I mean, I don't know if I want to use the word pure, but it's not for like a, I don't know if virtuous is really the best word either, but I'm going to use it. It's not for a virtuous reason like, oh, you know, I really like you as a person. I want you to be my person. I want to keep you around. I want to experience life with you. It's not like that, you know? And that's, I think, a lot of times why the woman does it. Do I think it's right? No. But I'm just saying, like, if both people are going to lie, it's like, it's one thing to lie because you genuinely like the person. It's another thing you just want to sleep with them and then you never want to see them again. The woman wants to keep seeing him. But the man, nah, like, he's good. Unless he does want to keep seeing her, but, like, only to have sex. And that is also messed up. And I mean, look, there are women who will go for that, right? Like, he don't have to even lie to her and she'll still stick around. And do I have my opinions on that? Of course I do. I'm not going to talk about them right now. Although I feel like if you've been listening to me, you kind of know where I stand with that anyway. But, you know, I don't think that, I mean, I just think it's so messed up, right? That men feel, apparently, that most of the time they have to lie to get what they want, because if they don't lie, then they won't get it. But to me, that sounds so messed up. It's like, it's such a consent issue, right? Because if the woman decides to sleep with the man based on lies that he told her, then she consented to that based on certain information. And if it turns out that that isn't true, then I feel like the consent wasn't really there. You know what I mean? And like the fact that men, because here's the thing. If you go in already thinking and feeling like, oh, if I don't lie to this woman, then she's not going to give me what I want, then that right there should tell you that she doesn't actually want it and that she's not interested. So you manipulating her into being interested, again, that really feels like a consent issue. And I don't like it. It really makes me feel weird. Like, I don't like that at all. Very uncomfy vibes. And to me, it's like, I don't see why I should put myself in a position where, like, as a woman, where I'm dealing with this man. And like, here's the other thing too, right? I feel like even if you you could be dealing with a man and you could be like, all right, you know what? I'm not trying to stay single necessarily. He's talking to me, so I'll entertain it, right? But when he comes in with the BS and the lies, and you either call it out or you just move like you need to move so that you don't get finessed as the woman. You know, I always hear these men talk about how, if you're the one, then the man will do this. And if you're the one, then he'll do that. And he'll be open to this and he'll be open to that and blah, 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 blah. And it's like, you have to be the one, quote unquote, for him to treat you with some just basic dignity. I meant to say decency. But also dignity too, to be honest. But you have to be the one for him to treat you like he got some sense. Otherwise, he don't care. He doesn't care. And it's like, I don't think I've vocalized this yet, but I actually think it's really messed up. Like, I know it's framed like it's romantic, but I think it's actually messed up when you think about it. This whole thing of the one for men, right? Because, again, I'm a reference Tony again, because, I just feel like, now listen, I want to say that I do respect and appreciate his transparency. So I'm glad that he has said this stuff, but because he has said it, I do want to examine it. And he has talked about how he was not faithful to a woman until his wife, right? And before her, he had a whole fiance who, after he met up with his wife again, he just dumped her just like that for his wife, because his wife was the one. And it's like, maybe it sounds romantic if you're in the position of the one, but most women aren't. Most women are that woman who just gets dumped just like that. And what does that signify? It signifies how you were strung along and used all that time. He knew. And see, that's another thing that I can't respect that men do. They know what they want women for. They know that they don't want anything serious, that she's just a placeholder or whatever else, but they won't communicate that to her at all. Not only will they not communicate it, they'll do the exact opposite, make it sound like she's so special, this, that, and the third. But then as soon as the woman that he actually wants shows up, he'll dump her so easily in 2 seconds, no regard. It's so heartless. He could have had conversations with this girl, laid down with this girl. None of that matters. Nothing that he told her, which is probably lies anyway. None of it matters in the end, as he just dumps her and goes on to the woman that he actually wants, as if she isn't a human with human emotions, and she isn't going to get hurt and psychologically screwed over by what happened. But he don't care about that. That's the thing. He don't care. He doesn't care. He cares about what he wants. And what he wants is the one, whoever that one is. But that is so messed up for all the women who were not the one. For all the women who got strung along and used. And then they sit here blaming themselves, wondering what they did wrong. Sometimes fighting to get this man back who they think must have wanted them. They say, oh, he says we weren't in a relationship, but we were. And it's like, no, if he is saying that y'all weren't in a relationship, I don't care how much he may have treated you like you were in a relationship. If that's how he felt, he would claim it. He didn't. That should tell you something right there. The fact that you did everything that would be included in a relationship and he still don't want to call it one. That just shows just how far he went to use you. It's so sad. It's so sad. And it's like, when these men lie this much, this hard, this often, I feel like all the things talking about, you know, the women, they're just choosing wrong all the time. They're always choosing wrong. It's like, but if you're being like, it's one thing if this guy is showing who he is and then she sees who he is and she still goes for him despite him clearly being a bad option, and that happens. But what also happens that people don't seem to want to acknowledge a lot of times is the lies. The lies that she don't find out are lies until she's too far in. And you can try to, see through these lies earlier on, but it's like, I mean, come on. People will tell you how, you're not supposed to be too suspicious. You're not supposed to, you're supposed to open yourself up, let yourself trust and everything, have your guard up, but don't have it up too much. But it's like, I feel like women will try to do that. And even if they do feel like there's stuff that is kind of fishy or whatever, they'll try to tell themselves, you know what, I think I'm just being too extra. Let me, trust. Because, not to say that you necessarily ever have to completely drop your guard around someone, but it's like, how are you supposed to know how far you can drop your guard, how much you should or shouldn't? I feel like hindsight is 20/20, but if you're being lied to, gaslit, etc., and it's not, brought out until later, I've heard about how there will be women who don't find out who a man is until he gets her pregnant or until he marries her. Basically, not until she's trapped, or at least he feels like she's trapped. And it's like, so again, I just say, what exactly is the allure of men? And not to mention how I watched a video the other day about Princella when she was talking about apparently how nasty these men be. And it don't help that then, it was some nurses talking about, the guys coming into the room to sit on the seats or whatever. And, if they had to take off their clothes, they sit on the seat. And then when they stand up, there's skid marks on the seat. What? And the one nurse talk about that happened 7 out of 10 times. Excuse me? These men want to jump in the bed with women so fast and then don't even be having enough hygiene as to where you can't sit down and not leave a skid mark. I'm done. Having the one man talk about how he heard a woman say, she was being intimate with her boyfriend or whatever, and while they were doing it, some poop falls into her face from his butt. Excuse me? Oh my gosh. So again, I'm just saying, and and then you'll hear men say, well, men are men lie, men. And I think it's very interesting how a lot of times, and I mean a lot of times, women call men narcissists, right? To the point where the term is overused. But what that says to me is that most men have narcissistic qualities. Which again is so why do you want that? why do you want that? I just, like, if most men are narcissistic, you know, it, I'm not seeing the allure. I'm not seeing it. The allure, however you say it. I'm not seeing it. I'm not. I'm telling you, at this point, I would really have to be heavily convinced to get in a relationship with a man because I'm not seeing the benefit right now. Like I said, the only benefit I'm seeing is the protection, and they don't even always offer that. And even if they do, I still find it ironic that the protection is from other men. So I'm not seeing the benefit. I'm not seeing it unless this man is willing to be my, he just my partner, you know? Unless he's willing to just genuinely be my partner, like he wants to be friends, he wants to build on that. Like, he loves me for me and not just something he can use me for. Like, oh, because, I've been thinking about this lately too. Men wanting women seems to a lot of times too just be a thing of like, a man wants a woman because he wants a family. Like, he wants kids. Yeah, I'm not even going to say he wants a family because I don't even think a lot of them want families. Some of them do, but a lot of them just want kids. So to me, it's like, it's not even really that they want a woman. It's just that they know that a woman is who's going to give them kids. So they just say they want a woman, but really they just want kids, right? So you'll have a lot of guys, it's like they don't get with a girl because, again, they actually like her or want to get to know her or whatever, and genuinely want to build a life with her. It's just they want kids. And maybe she has certain qualities that he thinks that she would instill in their children that would be good, or she would just raise them well or whatever. But it's really about the kids. It's not about her. It feels to me like a lot of men who quote unquote want girlfriends really just want what they consider to be a consistent access to sex. That's really it. It's not about her. Again, it's not about actually wanting a partner. It's about wanting someone that they feel like they can consistently go to for sex, which would also explain why, it's like so many of them will cheat, or at least are willing to cheat, because it's really just about sex anyway. And that's why, their girlfriend don't even necessarily have to be all that attractive to them, because it's not even really about that. It's literally just having access to the sex, which I think also would explain why, it's like, even if they aren't really that attracted to their girlfriend, that's okay, because behind her back, they can go for the girls that they really are attracted to and really like. And if they can get with her, great. Now they're having additional sex and they're having it with the girls that they actually want. But if they don't manage to get that girl, it's not as big of a deal. It's not as big of a risk, because it's not like they're not going to be able to have sex, period, because they still got their girl. And I think that's the reason why men be holding on to their girlfriends. It really is just like a using thing. Like, it's just messed up. I just think it's such a shame how disingenuous it is. How, a lot of these men really, they're not with these women or pursuing these women out of a genuine interest in them as women, as people. It's just for some sort of usage, whatever that usage is, whether it's sex, having children, having, a free therapist, having just someone to talk to because maybe they don't have friends. Because honestly, that reminds me of another guy that I know, but I ain't going to get into that. But, it just feels like it has nothing to do really with the girl herself and who she is in most cases. Again, not all. And that's why in those cases where, the woman and the man are both, because again, women do men dirty too. They do. They're not saints. I done said that. So in cases where you have a mutually healthy relationship, I really do think that, that is the best case scenario. And, I'm all about it. I wish more relationships were like that. I wish that something would happen that would make more men be genuinely interested in women more often, and that the tides would turn. But right now, that doesn't seem to be the case in most cases. And, it's really unfortunate. So, again, I don't really see, in most cases, the point of dealing with them. I know I have no desire to deal with them. I've already talked about the situation and circumstances under which that I would, but I'm not holding my breath for that. I'm not holding out for it. My standards are high. They need to be high. They will continue to be high. So it is what it is, right? But I talked about this longer than I really planned to, but I feel like, that was something that I really needed to do. So that's what I did. So I'm in this because I should go to sleep. If anybody listens to this, thank you for listening. I hope you got something out of it. And I guess I'll catch up with you in the next one. Oh, wait. Actually, before I do that, let me change the title of this video a little bit. What's the allure of having a relationship with a man? There. Now y'all have heard my new title, because this is harder to change it after it's done, I've noticed. And I wanted to get more specific. Anyway, like I said, thank you for listening. Have a good one.